Now, I am not admitting online to potentially 100 people that this happened to me, but I'm not saying that it didn't happen. Hey everyone, I hope you're well, and welcome to Cancun, Mexico. We have been here for about 2.5 weeks, just getting settled in, all the things that you need to do when you move somewhere. So cell phones, gym membership, finding out where to grocery shop, etc., etc. But now that we are comfortable and in a routine, I am excited to be back and filming some videos for you. To get from Budapest to Cancun, we had to travel for over 24 hours. So we had a flight from Budapest to Frankfurt, which was a little under 2 hours, and then a quick layover, and then the long flight from Frankfurt to Cancun, which was almost 12 hours long. And boy, did I learn a lot about comfortable flying. So in today's video, hopefully I can pass on the things that I would do again and the things that I wish I did, so that if you're ever in a similar situation, flying a long haul flight pregnant, you can be more comfortable. So I've been flying my entire life. My mom was a flight attendant. My dad was an airline pilot. They met on an airplane. So I thought I had it all figured out. But flying in your third trimester is an entirely different ball game. So I want to start out by talking about what to wear on the flight. So starting from the bottom, we have shoes without laces. Now, if you're traveling and you're not pregnant, it's easy enough to just bend down, pull the lace, take your shoe off, put it through security, and put it back on. But when you're pregnant and you have a belly, you do not want to be like bending over for long periods of time trying to undo your shoelace. So shoes that you can just kick off with your heel or that your partner can just pull off quickly, absolute must. I ended up wearing my cowboy boots because I love them. I wanted them here with me, but they're really heavy, so they take up weight in my check-in luggage. But the positives are that they slide on and off really easily, and they covered my compression socks. So these are the compression socks that I wore. I will link them down below. I got them off of Amazon, but they were so comfortable. My feet didn't swell at all. When I took them off, you could see where my calves would have swollen, but I was so comfortable the entire time. I wore them from when we left Budapest to when we arrived here in Cancun, and I didn't have any issues, no Charlie horses, which I've been getting recently, so highly, highly recommend the compression socks. The pants I wore on the plane were actually these pants, so they're an elastic waist, super comfortable, flowy, so they're not like tight and constricting, and they're a jersey material, so if you're sweaty or wet or something else, they are easy to clean and they dry quickly. For the top, I wore a tank top of a similar material. It was a sports material, and it had a built-in bra, which was very comfortable. If you're sweating, like we had to run from our flight, from one flight to the other in Frankfurt, and I felt like sweaty and hot, and I run hot as a pregnant woman anyway. I don't know if you're also like this, but it was black. You couldn't see anything. It dried quickly. I felt cool the entire time. There were no bra wires or straps or elastic even. I just highly recommend a top like that, which I will also link down below. I'll try to find like copycats or the exact links of things that I wore and put it down below, so that if you are flying pregnant, or not even if you're pregnant, this is just a comfortable outfit overall. You can get all of the things. I did have a little sweatshirt that I brought because, planes tend to sometimes get really cold. I didn't wear it at all. Like I said, I run hot, so I didn't bring it, or I didn't wear it, but I do recommend bringing one. Maybe you'll get cold on the plane. If not, you can just use it as a pillow or extra blanket. For my hair, I wore 2 Dutch braids. This is the best hairstyle for flying. I've been doing this for every long haul flight that I've been on since I learned how to Dutch braid. I'll wash my hair so that my hair is nice and clean, and then I will braid it while it's wet. And it's out of your face, which is great, but unlike a bun or a ponytail, which tends to pull on your head, it's really comfortable. And also when you're trying to like sleep in the really awkward positions that you have to try out when you're flying, it doesn't like, hit anything or like stop you from sleeping comfortably. Why am I making all these gestures? Dutch braids are way more comfortable to sleep in than a bun or a ponytail. The last thing I wore was this belly band, which I will link down below as well. I got it from Amazon, but I didn't find that it did anything for me. I didn't feel any kind of extra support. I still got aches and pains and kind of like hip sciatica type style things. I didn't feel like my belly felt any lighter, like it wasn't really lifting any of the weight. It was just an extra layer that made me hot, so I ended up taking it off and not wearing it. I actually haven't worn this since I entered my 3rd trimester. I've only really worn it when I was running in my 2nd trimester, so in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have bought this thing. Take that advice or leave it. Now, the most important thing in the topic of clothing is to bring a spare set of underwear. Bring 2, okay? Bring 2 spare sets of underwear. Everyone knows the joke that when you're pregnant and you sneeze, you might pee yourself. Well, if you're sitting in a funky position, like with your knees up on the seat or the window or wherever it is that you're sitting, or you're up in the air, you can't go anywhere, right? And you happen to pee yourself, you're going to need underwear to change into, dry underwear to change into, so that you're comfortable on this really long flight stuck in a tube up high in the sky. Now, I am not admitting online to potentially 100 people that this happened to me, but I'm not saying that it didn't happen. All I am saying is to bring 2 spare pairs of underwear. What else should you bring? In your carry-on, maybe this sounds counterintuitive because you think you're pregnant, you need a lot of things to be comfortable, but I would actually recommend bringing as little as possible. You don't want to be lugging around a bunch of weight. I actually had my husband carry like my laptop and like heavier things in his backpack. So if you're traveling with your husband or a partner or your mom, whoever, ask them if they wouldn't mind carrying a little bit more weight so that you have a lighter load. But one thing that you definitely have to bring is food. So I packed snacks, and I thought that if I snacked throughout the whole flight, I would be fine. But I wasn't. I actually, when I don't eat enough, I get nauseous and I end up getting sick. So with like 2 hours left in the flight before they served the second meal, because they always serve one at takeoff and then one at landing with long haul flights, I threw up all of my snacks in the airplane bathroom. Now, throwing up is unpleasant, but throwing up in a tight space where you can't touch anything because it's disgusting, and you know there's people waiting outside, it is horrific. So to avoid that, if you're like me and you get nauseous when you don't eat enough, bring substantial snacks. I think that's actually my mistake, because I did have like snacky foods. I had salt and vinegar chips, almonds, because almonds are supposed to be high calorie. It's not, for me, it's not about high calorie. It's about like heartiness, I suppose. And I had dates and I had a chocolate bar. If I could go back in time and pack for this flight food-wise, I would have packed a sandwich. I would have made a sandwich, wrapped it. I would have had almond butter on crackers. I would have had tuna on crackers. I would have brought like heavier foods to eat. On a similar vein, I would recommend bringing Tums or a sort of calcium carbonate. I get high altitude flatulence when I'm not pregnant, and it's only exacerbated when I am pregnant. So Tums really helped me feel more comfortable when I was up in the air and feeling gassy. I also brought allergy medication because sometimes I just get random allergy attacks, and it's always good to like be prepared. Chapstick, all the kind of like normal things, I guess, not really pertaining to pregnancy, but I have it here, so I thought I'd mention it. Water, I carry around my 1 liter Hydro Flask, and most airports have refillable water stations. You want to be drinking a ton of water. Maybe you know this, maybe this is basic, but just a reminder, you want to be drinking a ton of water, especially when you're up there. Oh my gosh, I'm getting a little winded. One thing to note though is usually on long haul flights, water is readily available. So some planes actually have a faucet that you can go and fill your water. Otherwise, the flight attendants usually have cups laying out, and that's how our flight worked. So I was getting up every 30 minutes to stand and stretch, another great tip. And I would always just walk to the back of the plane, grab a cup or two of water, and then sit back down. So I was drinking a lot of water and I was getting up a lot. You want to get up frequently because you don't really stand up or move for very long. There's not many places to go and you're not really allowed to like linger. I don't know, people might start looking at you. So if you get up frequently, that's really helpful. The last thing I would say to bring is pillows for comfort. So the pillows they give you on long haul flights, if you're flying economy, which we did, they're pretty unsubstantial. I actually brought a full-blown pillow and I just kept the pillowcase in my carry-on until we were on the flight so that it wouldn't get dirty like while we were traveling around. And this was super comfortable. The other pillow I brought was a neck pillow that blows up. So it was in my carry-on, didn't weigh anything, didn't take up any space. We got on the plane, I blew it up, and then I didn't need it for my neck because I had my big pillow, I actually put it on my lower back, or I would sit on it for my tailbone, like support your tailbone. That was so comfortable. So that's a big one. Bring pillows, bring things that you know are going to help make you comfortable because you're going to be sitting for a long time. Sleeping is already difficult when you are pregnant if you have like indigestion or flatulence or something like this. So going the extra steps to make sure that you're comfortable and that you can actually fall asleep, super helpful. So I think those are all of the main tips for flying comfortably when you're in your third trimester. Of course, if you can get a seat with extra leg room or, you know, like the emergency exit or the room at the front where they usually put like baby bassinets, obviously do that. Otherwise, I hope that some of these tips are helpful to you, maybe something that you haven't thought of. If you have a tip for us that I didn't mention, please leave it in the comments below because the more we can all help each other, the more these long flights will be endurable. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you might be a little confused as to why we're even in Cancun. I am actually going to give birth here, and I have my first doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I'm very excited for that. I get to see baby on the ultrasound and meet my doctor, work out birth plan, etc. So I'm excited for that. I'll definitely do a video covering our birth plan and what we plan on doing that because that's already been requested to me. If there's any other videos related to living in Cancun or the pregnancy that you want me to film, please do let me know. I only want to make things that you're interested in seeing, of course. But yeah, other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.